If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about today's topic and if there's anything you'd like to hear me discuss in the future. And before we begin, I always want to preface by saying I am not a basketball expert. I'm just a fan who's naturally obsessed. And in today's video, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Recently, I've been talking a lot about the Phoenix Suns, one, because that's the team I root for, and two, that's who my connections within the NBA are in, strictly in the Phoenix Suns organization. But I do follow the entire league very closely as I can, form opinions on other teams, other players, things like that. And today's one of those situations. A friend of mine asked me a question yesterday on how I feel about the report of the Lakers being down to their 3 finalists for the head coaching position. And I got some inspiration from that. Like, you know what? Maybe I'll do a video on that. So that's what today's video is on. And it's duly noted. And the more content I make, you'll start to realize I hate the Los Angeles Lakers. And it's because I've been a Phoenix Suns fan my whole life. So I've rooted against the Lakers my whole life. So I love to see them struggle. But on the contrary, despite what other people who may be watching this video feel about LeBron James, I am a LeBron James fan. So it really hurt me to see him go to the Lakers several years ago. But that being said, there's criticism coming from all over from the Lakers, especially over the last 2 years. Some of it justified, some of it not so justified. And I'm going to break down just this scenario, give you a few facts leading up to where we are right now, and it's been well documented. You know, the Lakers, every time you turn on sports talk, they're everywhere because of the large brand they are. So you're probably very familiar with what I'm about to talk about, but I'm going to bring it up anyways just to kind of recap and get to where I want to talk about, which is my opinion on the 3 finalists. So here we are now, 2 years after winning the NBA championship. A lot of people call it the bubble championship, the COVID championship. I hate that. I understand the criticism, but the bubble was a very difficult situation for multiple reasons. But you cannot deny the fact that for some teams, it was very beneficial. And for the Lakers, they benefited from it probably more than anyone, outside of the reason being they won the championship. You have older players on the team like LeBron, JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, players like that. You have players with injury history, Anthony Davis. So they benefited from having 4 months off and getting back together for that title run, that final stretch run. So ever since then, though, the one championship year, it's been filled with ups and downs, a lot of mismanagement on the Lakers side of things. And I know that a lot of people look at LeBron and they go like the GM and things like that. I hate that, even though I understand LeBron has great influence over his team. His opinion's taken very, very seriously. His requests, and in some cases his demands, are usually granted. So the one in particular that you know I'm about to bring up is the fact that he chose Russell Westbrook this year over the Buddy Hield deal, which could have potentially put the Lakers in a position where they could have gone after DeMar DeRozan, which he's been quoted as saying, I wanted to go to the Lakers. How would that have worked out? I think it would have been a much better fit, obviously, and I knew it, just like most of you watching probably knew it. Westbrook wasn't a good fit in that style of offense with those teammates in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because Westbrook is so ball dominant. Taking the ball out of LeBron James' hands, I don't think helps an offense at this stage of his career, just overall, because LeBron is easily, hands down, one of the best ball handlers, one of the best passers in the history of basketball, and taking the ball out of his hands and putting it into the hands of a player like Russell Westbrook, who's so ball dominant it takes away from his teammates. It was a disaster waiting to happen, and now the Lakers find themselves trapped. And where I'm getting at is at the end of the year deciding to move off of Frank Vogel. I hate that Frank Vogel was made to look like a scapegoat. Love him or hate him, I do like Frank Vogel as a basketball coach. Probably one of my favorite defensive-minded people in the NBA. And in that championship season, his defensive vision came to mind, and you saw glimpses of it last year. You didn't really see it this year at all, but you saw his vision coming to place before the team started getting blown up. You know, losing Alex Caruso, losing Kyle Kuzma, these role players that played significant parts in not only that championship run, but just the chemistry around the team. You know, right now, I think where the true struggle lies is at this point of the career of LeBron James, how to get the most out of him is you surround him with shooters. You surround him with shooters and get some players that commit to the defensive side of the ball. And I think you can still win plenty of games that way with LeBron at this point, who, let's face the facts, like LeBron James just had the best regular season for a 37-year-old player in NBA history. It's unbelievable. But the one thing going against LeBron that is kind of worrisome is, even though when healthy, he's putting up ridiculous numbers and ridiculous production, the injuries are starting to pile up. And it's not even debatable. 3 of the last 4 years, LeBron has missed a chunk of time due to an injury. Whether that's his fault or not, it's factual. It's happening. So it's kind of concerning that you have a player that's 37, going to be 38 soon, with injuries starting to pile up, and each time he's gotten injured, it's been a prolonged amount of time, increasing each time that he's been out. So it's just something to take into consideration if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I mentioned that I don't like that Frank Vogel was made as the scapegoat. LeBron deserves some criticism. He really does. And that being said, with everything going on with the Los Angeles Lakers right now, a lot of people are being like, these are your 3 finalists. Are you kidding me? And my response to that is, don't be critical of the finalists. Are there better candidates for the job? Absolutely. 100%. But ask yourself this question, Lakers fans, put all biases aside, ask one question, truthfully, and please comment down below and let me know if you disagree with this statement. Please let me know why. Which head coaching candidate that's definitively better than these 3 finalists wants the Lakers job right now, realistically? Who? Because I really don't think coaches like Doc Rivers, Quinn Snyder, Nick Nurse would want this job right now. Realistically, I think they would, just because it's the Lakers and it's a big brand, if they thought it looked more promising than their current situation. So the fact that those big name coaches, good coaches, I understand Quinn Snyder and Doc Rivers have their criticisms, justifiably so. But like it or not, they are top coaches in the NBA. There's a reason why Doc Rivers keeps getting jobs. There's a reason why Quinn Snyder's been where he's at for so long. I think they would want to live the glamour lifestyle in Los Angeles if they thought it was truly more promising of a situation than they are currently in. And Juwan Howard, it's been noted that he's taken himself out of the running for that, which is how they came down to these final 3 candidates. I believe if Juwan Howard's situation was different, which he's coaching his sons at Michigan, which is a dream come true for a father, so I completely understand where he's coming from. If that was not the case, I think not only would he be a serious candidate for this job, but he would be probably the front runner. So leads us to these 3 candidates, and as I'm saying, the Lakers, I'm just going to put it bluntly, other than that title season and acquiring LeBron James, swinging for the fences to acquire Anthony Davis, they've been a complete dumpster fire of an organization for the last 10 years. Fact. Only 5 teams in the NBA have fewer wins than the Los Angeles Lakers in the last 10 years. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the New York Knicks, the Detroit Pistons, the Sacramento Kings, and the Orlando Magic. 5 organizations that everyone knows are complete dumpster fire situations and organizations at the present time. No other way around it. That's a fact. So the fact that those are the only 5 teams that have fewer wins than you in the last 10 years, and you have LeBron James, age 37, you know what Anthony Davis is capable of when healthy, and you know when both of them are on the court together, they complement each other extremely well, and you'll win plenty of games. But let's just look at it like this before I get into the individual candidates. So I mentioned the Westbrook situation. He's going to opt in to his player option. I think he's likely to stay because realistically, who wants to take on that contract, even though it is a massive expiring deal, which could be very attractive for teams that are trying to rebuild? I'm hearing, though, and it's making its way around social media, so if you're watching this right now, you've probably heard this too, that any team that would even consider acquiring Russell Westbrook will want, at the minimum, a first-round pick attached to him. The bench right now is a complete disaster. They gave most of it up to acquire Westbrook or to leave in free agency. They're really missing Caruso and Kuzma right now, in my opinion. I already mentioned the poor draft capital. You know, there's a couple pick swaps coming up with the Pelicans for the Anthony Davis deal. They already don't have that first round pick this year because of that deal. And if you have to include a first round pick to trade away the Westbrook contract, you're in draft capital hell at this point in time, to say the least. The Anthony Davis injuries keep piling up. He's missed a huge chunk of time over the last 2 years. And then I've already mentioned LeBron's age. If a coach is coming on, realistically, he's under contract for a few more years. I understand that, and he's still, when healthy, playing at a very high level. But realistically, just off of what we know from the past, how confident are you that LeBron is going to play at this level or close to it for the entirety of the remainder of his deal? I honestly, I'm not going to give an opinion on that because I honestly don't know. LeBron continues to defy the odds of age and production and all that, so I've learned not to ever doubt him. But it's going to happen at some point. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I don't know if it's going to be in 2 years. But it's going to happen. And then last but not least, the ownership. The management. Jeannie Buss, she's been disastrous. And I know she wants to win. I know that. But bringing back Phil Jackson to help give opinions on the next head coach, bringing in close personal friends to help run your organization, they could know what they're doing. They definitely very well could know what they're doing. But I always am of the belief, and other people that I've heard talk about this situation have brought it up as well, I don't want friendship getting in the way of me running a successful business or organization. Because friendship, it's very tricky to mix business and friendship. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find the right words to describe why I don't like it, just in a nutshell. But long story short, I want people with a proven track record of success on a professional level, as opposed to, hey, you're my buddy, I like you, I respect your opinion, so you have no idea what you're doing. you know what I mean? The Rambis family, I understand they've been big for basketball, but what have they done for basketball lately? It's a fair question. It's a very fair question. And Jeannie Buss, as I said, she's just done an awful job running the Lakers the last 10 years. You wrote a big check to acquire LeBron James. You gave up a whole bunch of assets to acquire Anthony Davis. And you got a championship out of it. Bravo. But what have you done to maintain that? What had you done prior to that? So that rambles out of the way. Let's get down real quick to these head coaching candidates, because I actually think some of them might be good fits. So Darvin Ham is a guy that I'm hearing is LeBron James' preferred choice out of the three. He played in the NBA for 9 years, and former players are starting to become a trend in NBA head coaching candidacy. We're seeing how well it's worked with Jason Kidd. I know he's been a coach prior to this year, but I think we're seeing the mistakes that he made before, learning from them to be successful now. He's great. We're seeing Chauncey Billups with the Trailblazers. Doc Rivers has been in the league for a while. Monty Williams. It's becoming more widespread than ever before. So that's something to consider. And he has tons of experience. No head coaching experience, but he's been an assistant coach in the league for the last 10 years with the Lakers, the Hawks, and the Milwaukee Bucks. And he's a defensive guy like Frank Vogel. So different schemes, but same types of philosophies. So I think in the terms of transition, it might be a simpler transition, and we've seen how well LeBron James works with young head coaches before. Ty Lue, Eric Spoelstra. So things to consider. Second guy, Kenny Atkinson, offensive guy, so that's different. You're trying to put more emphasis on the offensive side of the ball. He coached the Nets for 4 years, and I remember when the firing occurred, there were questions about why you would make that move, because given the situation, they had made the playoffs. They won that. They won the play-in game, and I remember there was a lot of talk about the team overachieving with no KD that year. Kyrie had chosen to forego the bubble. They were playing a lot of bench players in the starting lineup. So for how well they did with how little they had to work with, I personally thought that deserved another year and to see what he could do when you have both Kevin Durant and Kyrie inserted in the lineup. It didn't happen, and since then, he has been an assistant with the Clippers and with the Warriors. Clippers with Ty Lue. I love Ty Lue, that's no secret, and I think he's bringing in an entirely different mindset and mentality to that Clippers organization, something that they've needed for several years, and we already know about the winning culture and organization of the Golden State Warriors, so this is an intriguing pick for me. And then the last guy, Terry Stotts. Terry Stotts started in the league in '92, and he was most recently with the Trailblazers for the last 9 years. And he took last year off. He's been nonstop working ever since '92. So I think he just wanted to get his mind right, kind of reset, re-engage in more modern NBA. Because I remember that being one of his biggest criticisms when they moved off of him, was he was a little too old school and the game offensively potentially starting to pass him by. So I think what might have happened is he took the year off, just get his mind right, kind of just study the modern offenses of the NBA, because he is another offensive guy. And I think because of that, the Lakers may feel all the experience, all the work he's put into getting where he's at right now with the modern league makes him an attractive pick. So those are the three guys, the three finalists as of right now. And I'd really like to know what you guys think. Do any of these three guys sound intriguing to you? Do you hate all three of these guys as coaching choices? Or do you have another recommendation? I'd love to hear it. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, comment down below. Let me know what you thought about today's video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.